Have you ever wondered why, when you are a child, all the movies you watch are fairy tales and they all have a good ending to them? I think it's because life gets so hard when you get older that they want you to hang on to the belief of a fairy tale world for as long as possible. Hello, my name is Macy Humphrey, and my life lesson I want to tell you about today is life isn't always easy, but it can be worth it. When I was younger, life was pretty normal. Then, when I started college, it got a little rough. After about the age of 22, I thought it started looking up for me, and then a couple bumps hit the road. But now I'm doing things through Jesus. I'm making not only my dreams come true, but my life is getting more and more beautiful by the day. Although life was not meant to be easy, sometimes God has to give us what He thinks is going to make us stronger without actually breaking us. When I was younger, it was pretty fun. It was my mom, Nanny, Paul, and I. I was an only child and I got all the attention. Soon after, my mom met someone. When I was 5, my mom had my twin brothers. I was so excited to have someone to take care of, and I felt like a little mom following everyone around. The older we got, I thought my parents started to favor my brothers more, which pushed me more toward my grandparents, which I didn't mind at all because I spent every minute with them anyways. When I hit about high school, my relationship with my parents got really rocky. I was really sheltered in school, and I wasn't able to leave the house on a school night. I wasn't able to attend school functions or hang out with friends. I wasn't able to have a boyfriend, none of it. Then senior year rolls around, and my mom figured it was time to tell me who my biological dad was, even though he wasn't wanting to be in the picture at all. After being told, I also found out that I actually had 4 more siblings through him, but this information really didn't faze me much. I didn't want to force a relationship that I knew could probably eventually end in heartbreak. Anyways, when I was younger, my life was pretty easy, but it wasn't always like that. When I got to college is when my life took a turn for the worst, I thought. I went straight from high school to college with no time off at all. I knew exactly what I wanted to do and it was on my mind. While going through cosmetology school, I also had a job and was living with my grandparents. They were a lot more open-minded than my parents while I was under their roof. I was able to hang out with friends and actually have a life. I graduated college a year after I started, and then I met a boy. After meeting this boy, about a year later, I found out I was pregnant. Boy, was I scared. I knew exactly what kind of disappointing looks I was going to get for the decisions I had made. Not to mention how scared I was to even have a child, even though I had a passion for children. The week of Halloween in 2014, I started to have crazy stuff happening, which landed me in the hospital. The doctor told me I would be fine. The stuff around me was just stressing me out. So I was put on bed rest for 3 days. My 3rd day of bed rest just happened to be Halloween of 2014. The night before Halloween, I started getting uncomfortable again, and I started feeling sick again, and things just weren't feeling right. Halloween morning of 2014, around 3 a.m., I ended up having my child at my home. After going to the ER, I found out that it was a boy, and I named him Bentley Aiden. This was my breaking point. I never thought I would be able to live the same again, because at that point, I had lost everything, I felt like. How could God give me a child and then take it away like He did? My depression and my anxiety hit harder than ever. I pushed people away and out of my life. I didn't want anyone to be around. I felt so lifeless. This is the part in the lesson where I had to tell myself life isn't always easy. But I knew that God still had a plan. Although this part of my life was rough from beginning to end, the next chapter, although holding hardships, was definitely more worth it. God told me as long as I pushed and kept Him by my side, I would prevail. By the time I hit 21, I was so far from where I should be, where I should have been, that I was doing absolutely anything to keep my mind off the fact that even a year later I was still hurting. I was out and partying. I never wanted to be home because being at home showed me that I still missed my angel. It took about until the end of my 22nd year for me to realize that I was going to be okay and Jesus had my child safe. After I finally found that out and really calmed down, I found out that the same nanny who took care of me all those years had cancer. And it hit me a lot harder than I showed. But I had to remember that life is not easy, but it's worth it in the end. During this time, I met my next boyfriend, the boyfriend who proposed to me, and we got married November 11th, 2017. After getting married, I spent a lot of time at the hospital with my nanny, and when I wasn't with her, I was with my husband. Even though she was sick, he had a way of making me think that everything was going to be okay. About 7 months into our marriage, he disappeared. No word, no sign, no nothing. He was gone, but I always saw the good in everything and I kept my faith. I knew God had a plan. About a month later, I was at work and he called and said he wanted to come back home. I told him that was fine, but we were going to have to talk and things were going to have to change. After coming back, I found my happy again. We got back to normal, and about 2 months later, there he goes again. Poof, gone. I then took it upon myself to serve him with divorce papers, and by November 29th, 2018, they were finalized. One of my best friends died due to people being so selfish on December 18th, 2018. And then we found out that Nanny would have to leave the week of Christmas to have surgery to remove her cancer. Soon after, I really started to dislike my job. I didn't even want to be there. I wanted to change my career choice because that wasn't it anymore. But my thinking was I wasn't smart enough to go back to college, and I didn't want to start anything new while knowing that my grandmother was still sick. After thinking all those thoughts, we found out that after the surgery, her cancer was all gone. I had never been so happy in my whole entire life. In the end of 2019, I decided it was finally my time. I was going to follow my dreams. I was going to create my real life fairy tale. Now I'm a full-time college student going to school to be a kindergarten teacher, and I work full-time at an Arkansas Side Elementary School. Although sometimes I still feel like giving up because of how hard life gets, I remind myself that life isn't easy, but it's worth it in the end. Even though the devil tried to pull me down by throwing those hardships at me, I went through it, God kept his promise, and as you noticed, I'm constantly being victorious in my journey now. Although life was not meant to be easy, it wasn't meant to be hard either. You have to find a balance between the struggle and the success. You have to find yourself and try not to get lost in all the clutter.